every time you walk into a shopping mall, an airport, or a movie theater. Have you ever wondered why restroom stall doors always have that gap at the bottom? It's just a small detail, but one that often makes people feel uncomfortable. Because using the restroom, especially in public places, is when people need privacy the most. And a fully closed door is something everyone would prefer. Yet, most public places seem to do the exact opposite. So, are designers just messing with us? Or is there actually another reason behind those exposed stall doors? To understand their intention, try putting yourself in a real-life situation. When your stomach is acting up, you need to use the restroom immediately. But all the stalls are already taken. People before you have shut the doors and are casually using their phones, reading, or simply relaxing. Meanwhile, you're stuck waiting outside, anxious and hesitant to knock. Designers realize that fully enclosed doors create a too comfortable feeling, almost like being at home, which makes people linger longer and inconveniences those waiting. On the other hand, with a gap at the bottom, even if no one is actually looking, it still gives you a slight sense of being seen. It makes it harder to fully relax. And when you can see people walking by outside, you become more aware that someone might be waiting, so you're more likely to finish up more quickly. Thanks to that, public restrooms avoid being occupied for too long and can serve more people. Pretty surprising, right? When all you see is the immediate inconvenience, designers are thinking further ahead, prioritizing what works best for everyone. But that's not all. You might appreciate this design even more when you realize it can actually make the overall experience more comfortable for most people. It sounds a bit counterintuitive. If a partially open door makes people uncomfortable, how can it be considered more comfortable? But think back to when you're traveling and step into a tightly enclosed restroom in a small restaurant. What's the first thing you notice? Isn't it that damp, stuffy feeling, along with a strong, unpleasant odor filling the entire space? In fully enclosed restrooms, humidity tends to be quite high, because moisture from the toilet, sink, and the air inside can't escape easily. On top of that, since these places often serve dozens or even hundreds of people, tiny droplets from regular use can end up on the floor, in tile gaps, and on surrounding surfaces. When ventilation is poor, this residue takes a long time to dry. It gradually builds up, causing unpleasant odors to linger and affect the next users. In contrast, a door with a gap at the bottom helps keep the restroom dry and odor-free. First, an exhaust fan is usually installed on the ceiling to pull stale air out. As the air inside is drawn away, fresh air from outside naturally flows in through the gap under the door. This creates continuous air circulation, carrying moisture and odors out of the space. That's also why when you walk into a restroom with a gap under the door, you might feel a slight draft around your feet, and breathing inside feels much more comfortable. In addition, this open gap door design also makes restrooms more accessible for people with disabilities. It's especially helpful for cleaning staff. Instead of having to clean each stall one by one, they can simply stand at the first stall and use a high-pressure hose. Water and cleaning chemicals will flow through all the other stalls and drain into a shared outlet at the end of the row. More importantly, this design brings clear benefits to the businesses that operate these spaces. Imagine you're the owner of a shopping mall or a movie theater, serving hundreds of visitors every day. A restroom that stays dry, is easy to clean, and works well for everyone will definitely help retain customers and encourage them to come back. So for them, these open stall doors are a worthwhile investment. And that's why this design has become so common everywhere. By now, you probably understand why this gap at the bottom is so common. But there's one more thing you might not know. It can actually save your life. Sounds hard to believe, right? But consider this scenario. When someone enters a restroom with a fully enclosed door that reaches the floor and locks from the inside, in a worst-case situation, like a stroke or even just a slip and fall that leaves them unconscious, no one outside would have any idea. Because fully enclosed doors tend to block sound quite well, any noise, if there is any, would be very faint. People outside would simply see the door locked and assume it's occupied. They might wait 15, 30 minutes, or even an hour without suspecting anything. That's when the very gap we often think of as a lack of privacy actually becomes an emergency line of communication. Just by passing by, others can quickly notice something is wrong. A body collapsed on the floor, or a pair of legs that haven't moved for far too long in an unnatural position. And if help is needed, someone can quickly get inside to unlock the door instead of having to break down a fully locked stall door from the outside, which takes much more time. Another benefit closely tied to your health is the epidemiological factor. Imagine you're using a restroom during peak hours, and unfortunately some of the people before you may be carrying pathogens without anyone knowing. When they cough or sneeze, they release tiny droplets containing viruses into the air. In an enclosed space, these particles are very difficult to disperse and can linger, increasing the chance that the next person inhales them. But with stall doors that have a gap at the bottom, fresh air continuously flows in, creating a current that helps push those virus-laden droplets out. So by the time you step in, the air isn't just drier, it's also cleaner. So in public spaces, this open gap door design actually offers more benefits than drawbacks. Next time you walk into a public restroom and feel a bit uncomfortable about that exposed door, try looking at it from a different perspective. It's not a flawed design, but the result of careful calculation and refinement. A standard 12-inch gap at the bottom of the door strikes a balance, practical enough for functionality, yet still covering sensitive angles. Designers have cleverly turned an ordinary door into a smart solution for everyone. And if you're curious about other everyday things that most people don't fully understand, drop a comment with a topic you'd like me to explain in the next video. Thanks for watching.